Dear friends, welcome to yet another installment of Strategic Power. In this video, we are going to discuss the death of Alexei Navalny, a political opponent in Russia, which occurred in a prison in Siberia, and what message Vladimir Putin may be trying to convey with this event. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take this opportunity to subscribe now and activate notifications so you don't miss any new content. On Friday, February 16th, Alexei Navalny, a 47-year-old Russian political opponent, died at the IKT-3 prison in Chirp, a remote region of Siberia within the Arctic Circle. According to initial information provided by the Russian Penitentiary Service, Navalny suddenly felt unwell during his morning walk in the prison yard, fainted and fell. The prison emergency services tried to help him, but he did not survive and died on the spot. Who was Alexei Navalny, and why is his death causing so much impact in the world? What message might Vladimir Putin be trying to convey with this, directly or indirectly? Alexei Navalny graduated in law in 1998 and worked as a lawyer for various Russian companies in the Kirov region. At the same time, he was always very involved in politics, joining the Yabloko party in 2000. Over the years, he rose through the ranks of the party, but ended up being expelled in 2007 after conflicts with the leadership. In 2007, Navalny founded the Narod movement and began to draw attention in Russia in late 2011, leading demonstrations against allegations of fraud in the Russian parliamentary elections. He was arrested in December of that year, gaining fame and notoriety, which he used to encourage Russians to unite against Putin in the following months. Navalny dedicated himself to organizing protests against corruption in the Russian government, being arrested several times, but always with short sentences, a maximum of a few days. In 2013, he ran for mayor of Moscow and obtained 21.9% of the votes, while his opponent achieved 61%. From 2014 onwards, Navalny, already involved with the Progress Party, which later changed its name to Russia of the Future, tried to participate in several elections, but was always prevented by the Russian electoral justice system. In April 2017, after announcing his candidacy for the 2018 presidential elections, he was attacked with acid, resulting in serious damage to one of his eyes. Although he was assaulted and lost 80% vision in his right eye, Navalny was the only one arrested, spending 25 days in prison. In October 2017, he was arrested again for allegedly organizing and participating in protests without permission from the authorities. In December of the same year, his candidacy was blocked by the judiciary, alleging cases of corruption in his party and campaign. Although Navalny appealed to the Russian courts and called for a boycott of the 2018 elections, his candidacy was officially barred on May 15th of that year, the day of Putin's inauguration for his fourth presidential term. Navalny was arrested again in July 2019 during protests against corruption and fraud in the elections for the Duma. In 2020, when Putin proposed deep changes to the constitution that would allow him to remain president until 2036, Navalny led demonstrations against it, arguing that it was a coup and a violation of the Russian constitution. Despite the protests, Putin managed to change the constitution, guaranteeing his stay as president until 2036. In August 2020, shortly after the protests against that constitutional amendment, Navalny fell ill during a flight between Tomsk and Moscow, being hospitalized in Omsk. Navalny's health worsened rapidly, with the hospital director suggesting at a press conference that he may have been poisoned. On August 24th, he was transferred to a hospital in Germany, where doctors confirmed he had been poisoned with Novichok, an extremely potent substance classified as a chemical weapon which affects neurotransmitters. In December 2020, an unofficial investigation in Germany concluded that Navalny was poisoned by FSB agents, the successor agency to the Soviet KGB. In January 2021, after a difficult and prolonged 5-month recovery, Navalny announced his intention to return to Russia. He knew he would be arrested as soon as he arrived, but argued that his fight against Putin's regime would only make sense if he was in the country. On January 17, 2021, Navalny was arrested in Moscow and sentenced to 3.5 years for alleged fraud. Despite national and international protests, his sentence was upheld and other courts increased his sentence, alleging other crimes such as money laundering, which increased his sentence by 9 years. On August 4, 2023, a new trial added 19 more years to his previous sentence, accusing him of extremist activities and inciting Nazism. During this period, Navalny was transferred several times and disappeared in October 2023, reappearing in December at the IK3 prison, known for being one of the most severe in Russia, located in Chirp, in the Arctic Circle, and intended for extremely violent and aggressive criminals. Despite allegations of mistreatment and torture, such as sleep deprivation, all requests to transfer him to a prison with better conditions were denied. Until, on Friday, February 16th, the Russian penitentiary system announced that Navalny felt unwell during his morning walk, fainted and died. A video recorded the day before, Thursday, February 15th, shows Navalny apparently healthy, even joking with the judge and asking for money after stating that his accounts had been blocked by the Russian judiciary. Although there will never be any direct evidence linking Vladimir Putin to Alexei Navalny's death, Navalny's end on the eve of the presidential elections in Russia, just a month before the elections, benefits Putin, especially after having excluded the candidacies of the 4 opponents that posed a real threat. Whether Putin was directly responsible for Navalny's death or not will never be confirmed, but this suggestion will remain lingering in the air, just as it did in 2023 after Yevgeny Prigozhin's plane exploded in mid-air shortly after taking off from Moscow. Prigozhin's death occurred just 2 months after he led an attempted coup in Russia, which included even a column of tanks advancing towards the capital, Moscow. The coup was thwarted before reaching the capital, and Prigozhin left the country as a hero, deeply staining Putin's image both domestically and abroad. As with the Prigozhin case, the plane explosion and his death serve to show everyone that any attempt at armed opposition against Putin will result in the elimination of all those involved. With Navalny, the situation is similar, but on a political level. The autocratic regime established by Putin in Russia can only survive if it keeps everyone around it under control. And the best way to do that is through fear and the certainty that any attempt to challenge the great leader will result in serious consequences, whether it's a plane attack, a fall during the morning walk in a Siberian prison, or some other sinister fate. In light of the recent events involving the mysterious death of Alexei Navalny and the sinister patterns that emerge from Russian politics, it is inevitable to question: to what extent are we willing to accept oppression and violence in the name of political stability? Are we on the verge of a new era of global authoritarianism, where leaders like Putin operate with impunity? Share your opinion in the comments below and join the debate on the future of democracy and human rights. And don't forget to subscribe for more critical and insightful analysis of world events.